Love rarely announces itself with grand gestures. Instead, it slips quietly into the spaces between words, in the way someone looks at you a little too long, or remembers something you mentioned weeks ago. Psychology tells us that the deepest feelings are often hidden, not in what people say, but in what they can't help but do. In this video, we're uncovering 5 subtle yet powerful signs that reveal when someone is quietly falling for you. From the gaze that lingers to the small sacrifices they make without thinking, these are the overlooked behaviors that speak louder than any confession. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand these signs, you'll see love where you never thought to look, and you'll never mistake indifference for affection again. Number 1. The gaze that lingers. They say the eyes are windows to the soul, and when someone's falling for you, that truth becomes impossible to hide. Think about it. In a crowded room, where dozens of distractions pull their attention, their gaze keeps finding you. It's almost magnetic. And here's the fascinating part. When your eyes finally meet, they'll often look away quickly, as if they've been caught revealing a secret. That fleeting glance carries more weight than 100 spoken words. Psychologists explain that when we're drawn to someone, our pupils unconsciously dilate. It's the body's subtle way of signaling attraction, a physical response that can't be faked or forced. You'll notice it in those moments when they're talking with you, or even about you. Their eyes soften, their focus sharpens, and you can feel the intensity behind the gaze. But it doesn't stop there. Someone who's falling for you will often find reasons to position themselves within your line of sight. Maybe they sit at the table across from you instead of further away. Maybe they drift toward your side during a group conversation. These are small, almost invisible adjustments, but they reveal something profound: their desire to stay connected, even without words. Love doesn't always announce itself with grand gestures. Sometimes it shows up in the quiet persistence of a gaze that lingers just a little too long, a look that seeks you out in a sea of faces. And once you notice it, you'll realize you were never just another face in the crowd. Number 2. Micro-expressions and body language. When words fall silent, the body begins to speak, and often it speaks the truth we try hardest to hide. One of the clearest signs that someone is falling for you lies not in what they say, but in the micro-expressions and subtle movements they can't control. Take mirroring, for example. Without even realizing it, they'll copy your gestures, crossing their arms when you do, sipping from their glass just after you, or leaning back at the same moment you relax. Psychologists call this synchrony, and it's the body's way of saying, I feel connected to you. I'm attuned to your rhythm. It's not imitation, it's rapport, unfolding at a subconscious level. Then there's the smile. Not the polite kind we offer strangers, but the quick, genuine flash that appears the moment you walk into a room. It's automatic, unfiltered joy, the kind that lights up their whole face before they even think to hide it. That smile is their heart's reflex, revealing how much your presence shifts their mood. And pay attention to how they lean in when you speak. Even in a crowded space with countless voices competing for attention, their body angles toward you. Their focus sharpens. Their energy gravitates in your direction. It's not about hearing better. It's about wanting to be closer, to absorb every word as if it matters more than anything else in that moment. Love in its early stages is rarely declared outright, but the body betrays the heart. And in these unconscious gestures, mirroring, smiling, leaning closer, you'll find the unspoken confession. You matter to me more than I can admit. Number 3, the unspoken priorities. Love doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through the smallest acts, the kind most people overlook. One of the clearest signs that someone is falling for you is when you quietly become their priority, often without them even realizing it. Think about the little details you've mentioned in passing. Maybe weeks ago, you casually said your favorite coffee order, or how you've always wanted to visit a certain place. To anyone else, those words would have vanished into the background, but not to them. They hold on to these fragments, and later they resurface, when they surprise you with that exact drink or bring up that dream trip as if it were their own. This isn't memory, it's care. Then there's the way they start to place your comfort above their own convenience. They'll rearrange plans, take the longer route, or stay up later than usual, just to make your day a little easier. These aren't grand gestures. They're sacrifices so subtle you might miss them, but they reveal something powerful. In their mind, your happiness matters as much as their own. And pay attention to how often they initiate contact. Not because they have to, not because there's something urgent, but simply to check in. A quick message, a shared meme, a simple, "How was your day?" They're not chasing conversation, they're seeking connection. These unspoken priorities are love in its most authentic form. Not dramatic, not performative, but consistent. When someone remembers your details, adjusts their life around your needs, and reaches out without reason, they're quietly telling you, "You are becoming part of my world." Number 4, vulnerability and shared worlds. One of the most profound signs that someone is falling for you isn't found in laughter, attention, or even physical closeness. It's in the quiet courage of vulnerability. When a person starts to share pieces of themselves they usually guard, it means you've become more than just a passing presence in their life. Maybe they tell you about a childhood memory that still stings, or a dream they've never dared to voice aloud. These aren't just stories, they're tests of trust. By opening the locked doors of their inner world, they're asking silently, "Can I be safe here? Can I be myself with you?" But it doesn't stop there. Love, even in its early stages, naturally expands outward. Suddenly, you're no longer kept separate from their world. You're woven into it. They introduce you to friends, mention you in family conversations, or share stories about you when you're not even around. This isn't done casually, it's their way of signaling, "You matter enough to belong in the spaces that matter to me." And then comes the future talk, not in grand declarations, but in subtle threads. "We should try that restaurant sometime. You'd love this movie. Next summer, maybe we could, These aren't random thoughts. They're quiet blueprints of a life they can picture with you in it. When vulnerability, integration, and subtle future plans begin to align, it's no longer just affection, it's the groundwork of something lasting. They're not just falling for you in the present, they're imagining you in their future. And that's one of the clearest, most human signs of love taking root. Number 5, the protective instinct. One of the most telling signs that someone is falling deeply for you is the quiet rise of their protective instinct. Not in a possessive or controlling way, but in the subtle ways they step in to shield you, comfort you, or simply make life a little easier without being asked. It shows up in small but powerful gestures. Maybe they defend you in a group when someone makes a careless remark. Perhaps they notice when you're uncomfortable in a situation and gently shift the conversation, or step closer so you don't feel alone. These actions might seem minor on the surface, but underneath, they carry a clear message. Your well-being matters to me more than my own ease. This instinct also reveals itself in quiet attentiveness. They make sure you've eaten, that you got home safely, or that you're warm enough on a cold night. They anticipate your needs before you voice them, not because they're trying to impress you, but because caring for you feels natural, almost instinctive. And then there's the invisible work, the way they smooth out obstacles in your path without telling you. Maybe they take on a small task so your day is lighter, or handle something behind the scenes so you don't have to. You might not even notice right away, but that's the point. True protection isn't about recognition, it's about devotion. When someone begins to protect you in these subtle, consistent ways, it's no longer just affection or attraction. It's love taking a protective shape, the kind that says, without words, your safety, comfort, and happiness are part of mine now. Love often hides in the quietest gestures, the glance, the smile, the unspoken care. Once you learn to notice these subtleties, you'll see that affection rarely needs words. It reveals itself in action, in presence, and in protection. If this video gave you a new perspective on love and human connection, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Here on FactsWorth, we uncover the psychology behind relationships and attraction, truths that help you see people and yourself more clearly. Until next time, remember, love isn't always loud, but it always leaves a trace.